Hello, this is my presentation for the Application of Programming Principles assignment. As you can see, starting with an empty browser, so I'm just going to paste in the link to my app. So straight away on load, there are a few things happening. The HTML page is displayed as a result of a Python flask function, which was triggered when I put in the URL. The Flask framework in Python acts as the application programming interface, or API, for this web page. So just ignoring the random quote section for now, you can see this full list of quotes here. Now these list items do not exist in the permanent HTML of the page and are instead generated dynamically using a JavaScript function. This JavaScript function runs when the page is loaded and sends a HTTP GET request using asynchronous communications to the API, which again triggers a Python function. This Python function reads a JavaScript object notation or JSON file which is saved on the server, then captures all the data in this file and sends it back to the JavaScript function, which uses it to manipulate the document object model or DOM and generate the list items. Scrolling down, we have the select, remove and add quote areas. By selecting a quote from the list, it will display down here, splitting up the quote author as well as displaying a unique ID. By selecting a quote we want to remove and hitting the remove button, I get an alert stating that the quote has been removed, but I need to click the update quotes button to save. Click OK and you see that the quote has been removed from the list. Going down to the add section, just going to paste in a new quote in here. If I try to add this without an author or vice versa, it will do nothing and give me an error. But with both boxes filled, we click add. An alert tells me it has been added, but again not saved. Click OK. And the new quote has been added to the list and I can select it. Now all the features in these sections all happen on the client side just using JavaScript functions to manipulate the DOM. To save the changes we have made, we click the update quotes button. This triggers a JavaScript function which sends another HTTP request, this time a put request, to the API, which triggers a different Python function. This time the JavaScript captures all the data from the current list, converts it to a JSON format, and then sends it to the API. The Python function then uses this data to overwrite the actual JSON file saved on the server. Click OK. And that's been done. To check it has worked, you can simply refresh the page and you can see that the changes that we have made are still there. Going back to the random quote button, on click a JavaScript function again sends a GET request to the API, which triggers the fourth and final Python function. This function still reads the JSON file with the quotes, but then it uses a built-in random function to pick just one of those quotes, which it then responds back with. The JavaScript again manipulates the DOM to put the response on the page. The benefit of using this method is that the response communication from the server to the client is a lot smaller, therefore more efficient compared to the function that generates the entire list. Okay, that's the end. Thanks for listening.